Chase's eyes lit. He tipped my chin gently. Marnie, you know fake can turn real? My heart tripped. What do you mean? Meaning his thumb brushed my jaw. I might not want to be a fake boyfriend anymore. Brain short circuit. The line was too loaded, way past my processing limit. We're here. He suddenly let go, nodding at the window my apartment gate. Chase stepped out to open my door, gallant in a way that felt alien. Tomorrow I'll pick you up, he said, kissing my forehead. Time to meet the parents, girlfriend. The kiss weighed less than a feather, yet it set off tidal waves inside me. I stood watching his SUV disappear, fingers drifting to the spot he'd kissed. When Chase's black SUV stopped in the hospital lot, my seatbelt strap was soaked with sweat. In the mirror he unclicked his belt, paused, then reached over and pressed my hand. Whatever we hear in there, he said, voice low, don't be scared. I'm with you. Only then did I notice the shadows under his eyes. He hadn't slept. Less than 2 hours after his mom's call, Richard Wilder had been rushed into Riverdale with a heart attack. Mr. Wilder will pull through, I answered, squeezing back. His skin was ice cold. Antiseptic stung my nose as we stepped into the air. The corridor at 3A.M. felt cavernous, our footsteps clacking off glossy tile. Rounding a corner, Chase yanked me into the stairwell. What? My spine met the fire door metal. He leaned his brow against my shoulder, breath ragged. Let me borrow you, just a second. Through the thin fabric of his shirt, I could feel him trembling. Chase, always so unshakable, now seemed as fragile as a sheet of glass about to shatter. I hesitated, then wrapped my arms around his waist. The muscles beneath my palms snapped taut. Remember when we were 14? He muttered. My dad whipped me with his belt, and you held on to me exactly like this. Memory crashed over me. That year Chase had taken the blame for my cutting class, and ended up with his back split open by his father's belt. I'd thrown myself over him, bawling, and caught a stray blow. Chase had exploded, shoved his dad away, carried me on his back 3 blocks to the clinic. You said back then, I laughed softly, that you'd elope with me to the moon. Still want to. He lifted his head, eyes bloodshot. Once Dad's stable wheel, a sharp creak of the door cut him off. Helen stood in the doorway, eyes rimmed red. Chase, your father's awake. He's asking for Marnie. The ICU machines ticked in steady rhythm. Richard lay on the bed, complexion ashen beneath a gray veil, yet his gaze flared when he saw me. He raised a vein-lined hand for needle taped in place, and Chase instantly tugged me to the bedside. Marnie. Richard's hand, gnarled like dead branches, seized mine. You two, at last. Dad, don't talk, Chase murmured, pressing his father's hand. The doctor said you need rest. Richard stubbornly shook his head. White fog bloomed on the oxygen mask. Ringed in the desk, 3rd drawer. Chase jolted, the tips of his ears blazing scarlet. Dad. A sudden realization struck me. I spun toward Chase. He averted his gaze, Adam's apple bobbing. Helen, dabbing her eyes, shoved a velvet box into Chase's palm. Your father prepared it 3 years ago. On the deep blue velvet lay a diamond ring, the center stone a rare cornflower sapphire circled with tiny brilliance. I remembered that gem sophomore year when Chase interned at an auction house. He'd shown me the catalog. I'd blurted that its blue matched his eyes. This, I stepped back, bumping into Chase. The Wilder family engagement ring, Helen whispered, voice breaking. His father polished it every day, waiting for Marnie to join the family, the monitor shrieked. Medical staff burst in, but Richard still clutched my hand, muddy eyes blazing with strange light. Say, Dad, Dad. I blurted. The old man smiled in relief, his fingers slackened. Chase clamped a hand over my eyes, but through the cracks I saw the EKG flatten to a line. The funeral took place 7 days later. Chase, in a black suit, stood before the headstone, back straight as a sheathed blade. I wore the sapphire ring. The metal froze my finger. You don't have to keep it on, Chase had whispered while sliding it on last night, fingers trembling, refusing to let go. After a while, I'll wear it, I said, covering his hand. So Richard can rest easy. Now he turned, gaze landing on the ring, emotions I couldn't read churning in his eyes. When the guests had gone, he suddenly pulled me deeper into the cemetery. Where are we going? I teetered on my heels. Chase said nothing until we reached a grove of sycamores. October wind whipped dead leaves around our feet. He plucked a yellow ginkgo from my hair, then dropped to one knee. What are you doing? I yanked at his arm. Marnie. He looked up, mud smearing his suit pants. There are words I couldn't say at Dad's grave, but stand up. I tried to cover his mouth. The ground's cold. He caught my hand, palm burning. The year you said we'd elope to the moon, I took it seriously. Every building I've drawn hides a moon-base Easter egg. Every bid book carries your name. Every CAD file is locked with your birthday. My tears splashed on his skin. Sycamore leaves rustled like the poplars outside the clinic that night 14 years ago. The day before yesterday, while clearing Dad's study, I found this. He pulled out a yellow diary and opened to a page of childish scrawl. asterisk 2005.9.1 asterisk today Marnie said she'll be my bride when we grow up. I secretly stashed all my pocket money in my piggy bank. The popsicle grandpa says diamond rings cost a fortune. I'll keep saving till I can marry her. Asterisk the diary thudded to the ground. Chase's kiss came suddenly, salty tears mingling. It was clumsy, fierce, like a volcano erupting after 20 years of silence. I fisted his lapels, fingers brushing the wild pulse in his neck. Breathe, he laughed against my forehead. You're supposed to breathe while kissing. I punched his shoulder. Who kisses like a pro? How many girls have you practiced on? Swear on my life. He raised 3 fingers. The girl glaring at me right now was my very first kiss. I froze. Brielle, I never even held her hand. Chase ground his teeth. But some little devil stole a kiss while I pretended to sleep at 17. And bit my neck while drunk at 20. Stop, don't say it. I lunged to cover his mouth. He pulled me down, and we rolled in the leaf pile, laughter scattering a flock of sparrows. By the time we climbed up, dust covered, the setting sun gilded the gravestones gold. On the drive back, Chase abruptly veered into the old quarter. When he parked outside the compound where we grew up, I recognized his apartment from before he started his firm. Why are we here? I eyed him unbuckling his seatbelt. He twirled the key ring, picking something up. The elevator stopped on the 17th floor. Chase's hand shook as he unlocked the door. When it swung open, I gasped. An entire photo wall displayed our pictures from infancy to last year's birthday. A glass cabinet held every gift I'd ever given him, a paint-scuffed yo-yo, sun-bleached paper cranes, even the notes we passed in grade school. I touched a photo from 2018, the year Chase stayed up fixing my thesis layout. I'd fallen asleep drooling on his keyboard and he'd snapped the ugly shot. Operation Chase Marnie. He wrapped his arms around me from behind. Do you like it? On the desk lay that famous memo. The newest entry read, asterisk 20 to 3.10 to 5 asterisk dad's gone. She wore the ring and said so Richard can rest easy. I shamelessly used her kindness, but this time I won't let go. Asterisk I rose on tiptoe and kissed his trembling lips. Outside, the first snow of winter drifted down, settling on the matching mugs on the windowsill, the birthday gift I gave him last year. Tiny words hide at the bottom. May we meet, year after year, forever asterisk the end.